Knoxville Game Design, August 2017, Game Jam Showoff with Ruth Ann Manning, Joe Miller, Jake Gillenwater, and Levi D. Smith.
Hello everyone, welcome to the August 2017 meeting of the Knoxville Game Design. We are developers in the Knoxville and East Tennessee area who develop games for fun and also develop games for profit. Currently we have 3 people in the meeting this month. First of all, we have the creator of games such as Sub Hunter and Kufu's Delivery Services. From Moorestown, Tennessee, it's Joe Miller.
Hi, everybody.
And also on the line, but having some audio difficulties, is our expert in processing, programming, developing games using processing, Ruth Ann Manning. So hopefully we get her audio problems fixed out here in a little bit and she'll be able to join us. But we'll definitely still show off her game even if she doesn't have audio. My name is Levi Smith. You may know me from games such as Kitty's Adventure and One Gunman, and I'm in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. So I think we're just going to start off with a recap of what happened this week. We actually had a show-off get-together at the Sunsphere, which was hosted by the Knox Devs group here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So it was like a get-together of all of the major meeting groups in Knoxville. So we had a table that we set up. It was me, Joe Miller, and Dylan Wolf. We had laptops set up so people could stop by and talk to us and play some of our games and check out in general just what we do in our group. Joe, did you have anything interesting to say about the Sunsphere meetup?
Oh, it was really neat to get out there. I lived here for a couple of years. I'd never actually been over to that building and been inside and see some of Knoxville from up high. So that was cool. And it seemed like there was a lot more like other programming type people in the area than I realized, with other specialized groups like Ruby groups and Python groups and web dev. It was just kind of nice to see that there's a decent community around it. So I would like to go to the next meeting. They said it was going to be quarterly, so it was fun.
Yeah, I think they do it maybe at a different location every time, and this was the first time they did it at the Sunsphere. But yeah, I think I heard there was like 1,000. I don't know if there's 1,000 people there. That's what they claimed, but it looked like a good 100 or so just lined up in booth. I think there was like a total of 23 booths set up around the Sunsphere. So you're way up high, you can see the whole city and then talk to other developers while you're out there. So yeah, we met a lot of great people. I think we brought a little bit more awareness of what we do in Knoxville game design. I was also going to mention that we did a Ludum Dare kickoff in the middle of July before Ludum Dare 39, and we waited, and the announced theme was running out of power. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. And we had a good show out. Again, it's me, Joe Miller, and Dylan Wolf, and we're also joined by Jacob and his family. So I'm hoping that Jacob will be able to pop in today, but if not, we'll definitely still show off his game that he developed for Ludum Dare this time. So I guess we'll go ahead and get on into it. I guess we'll just go by person. Joe, if you want to show off both of your games, I don't know if you have your GM48 game ready, but I don't think we've talked about it on the podcast yet.
Okay. Yep. I remember how to share my screen here. Okay. Yeah, I have that one queued up. This was not a game I really felt very proud of, but I was kind of crunched for time that weekend to see what I wanted to do. I ended up cutting out a lot of the things that I had in mind for what the game was going to be.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention that the theme for this one was sacrifice. Um, and if people aren't aware, GM48 is a 48-hour game jam similar to Ludum Dare, has the same voting and everything else. The only difference in this one is you have to use Game Maker, either Game Maker Studio or Studio 2, I believe. So yeah, see your screen, Joe. You got your. This game is called 30 Jumps.
Yeah, and I had kind of tinkered with the idea of making it randomly generated or actually manually creating the stage, and I went with manually creating just because it was easier to kind of control what the actual mechanics were going to be with that. But it was a pretty simple game. The controls, they're kind of like Angry Birds in that you kind of click and drag back to get an amount of force and kind of the angle that you're going to launch, like a slingshot. And the point of the game is to try to get up to the 30th platform, which is up here somewhere.
Yeah, I played it. I think I got up to platform number 9, so I still had a bit of ways to go.
That's way up there. But there were a few people on the comment section on the GM48 site that had beat it and showed some screenshots of being up on platform 30.
Wow.
Pretty impressed that people took the time to do it.
That is impressive.
But it was kind of a simple game. If you miss, then you fall, and you have to restart. Part of the sacrifice mechanic was going to be that I had these angel wings up here in the corner. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
But I had the idea that if you fell off a platform, you would be able to use an angel wing or sacrifice an angel wing to get flown back up to the platform you fell from. But I did not get that working in time, so they're just kind of there. They don't actually do anything. But I think overall, I got some pretty good comments. People liked the music that I did, and just that the kind of the amount of force and the angles felt pretty good for the controls. That nothing seemed too out of whack with that. I just didn't really finish everything I wanted to for it. Well, that's kind of how game jams go. So,
yeah, I think you're getting really good at these games that could potentially be ported to touchscreen. I could definitely see this like being ported over to mobile.
Yeah, I do kind of have that mindset when I go in of how something would work on mobile versus Windows. I think about that now.
Yeah, I was also going to mention Dylan isn't on the call this week, but I know he was doing some Twitch streaming, and I think he was working on some touchscreen in Unity. And I also see Jake Gillenwater, who joined us a couple of months ago, has popped in. Hey, Jake, how's it going?
Doing fine. Glad to be back.
We're just going over our Game Jam games that we've developed over the past month. So yeah, as mentioning, I know Dylan was doing a live stream on Twitch for doing a multi-touch interface, I guess for tablets in Unity. So
yeah, I'm not too familiar with Unity, but I know there's a couple different ways to go about it in Game Maker, so I imagine there's something similar in Unity.
Yeah, do you have to import a library into Game Maker to do touch interfaces, or does it just use the default mouse click event?
It'll use the default mouse click for the first touch, and you can count on the right click for a second touch. But then you start to have some weird behavior between Windows and mobile if you use that second touch or use right click as your second touch. But then it does have a way to detect multi-touch, like up to 10 points. But it's like a manual, like a for loop where you're kind of checking contact for any touch and then returning like the X and Y of where the touch is at. And you can kind of return it as an array of coordinates and then do what you want with those touch points.
That sounds very similar to Unity, where it's like the first, if you just use a left mouse action, left mouse click, that's like your first touch. The second touch is weird. It's like the center point of 2 touches is a right click. Focus is the right click event. Then after that, it's like, yeah, you specifically got to handle everything yourself. So that's an awesome. I like 30 jumps there. So right now it's only available for Windows. Is that right? On your?
Yeah, I haven't ported it anywhere. It's on itch.
It's on your itch
right now.
Awesome.
Yeah. I did try a mobile build with it just to see, but I would need to do some work on, like, it's really hard to grab the little thing to pull back and release. It's too small. But I could come up with a better way to do that.
Very cool. I guess since we're talking about GM48, I'll go ahead and show off my GM48 game, then we'll close up the GM48 portion of the podcast. So I'm going to focus myself and share. And I think I need that one. And junk. So I created junk feed blaster. Oh man, this is going to be loud. So I'll just show off a little bit of the gameplay, then talk about it, because you can hear me talk with it. So
yeah, the audio is not coming through, so we're still just getting here talking, or at least I
am. Okay, so that's the basic premise of the game. Yeah, I have problems sharing out, and unless it's muted, and I can't mute the game itself. But yeah, so little story that goes along with this game. So people may not understand why that is sacrificed. So a few years ago, I had heart issues, had to have a stent placed in around my heart. So one thing I had to sacrifice is junk food. So that's my way of showing what I had to sacrifice. You walk around, you have a starting heart rate, which starts at, I guess I can bring up the page on my site and just show off screenshots. Levi D. Smith, junk food blaster. So what I had originally envisioned is having like a heart rate, graphical heart rate meter, and then that would go up or down depending on whether you've run into the junk food. So every time you hit either a hamburger or a hot dog, then it raises your heart rate. Just walking will raise your heart rate, and jumping will also increase your heart rate as well. So yeah, if you get up to 200, you'll have cardiac arrest, and then that's game over. I wanted to have like a little heart meter where it does like the little pulses and everything, but didn't get around to that. But it's my first time developing a game in Game Maker, where I had the camera where it would move along with the player in the platformer. So that's something I learned new in this. And apparently the way that you handle viewports and cameras in Game Maker 2 is different than the original Game Maker Studio. So it was a little bit confusing. I was going out trying to figure out how to get the camera to follow along with the player throughout the level, and a lot of the examples were for the original Game Maker, which no longer applied, so I had to figure out the new way to do it. So got all that working, so yeah, I was kind of happy what I had developed. If I was to develop this further, I'd like to add more enemies, make it more of like a Mega Man style game, have guys shooting at you, and everything else have bosses or whatever. And that was my GM48 game that I developed a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so Joe, did you want to go ahead and talk about your Ludum Dare game that you developed?
Sure, we can jump into that. So
you developed Away Team.
Away Team, yeah. This is the running out of power. Was the theme for this one. Okay. So away team it's a squad and resource simulation game. So it's turn-based strategy as opposed to real time. So when you start the game, nothing really happens until you interact with it. But you can look and like it randomizes your crew of people, and they have jobs like trooper, technician, scientist, or classes, and they each have their own stats and their own XP and leveling. And then your ship itself has some stats between the engine and the med bay. And the point of it being that each time you advance the clock an hour, it uses 10 power to power the ship and everything around it. And then you need to charge the jump drive 10 turns worth and have power to make a jump towards home. And then each jump you make, it makes it a little bit harder until you get there or run out of power. And then in the meantime, what you can do is you can open one of these locations and send an away team of people, whoever you want to pick. So you pick like Mike Garcia and Tyler Walker and Lisa Jones, and I can send them on a mission, which takes a certain amount of time. And then when they finish that mission, there's a bunch of stuff that happened while they were away, and it kind of feeds that out in a log. They encountered a hostile alien species, had to run away from the aliens, suffered damage, had to flee low oxygen. So they can either succeed at extra events or fail at them, and they either get bonus rewards or take damage. And then when damaged people, you can't send them back out. So like they're take a certain amount of time to recover based on your med bay. But
yeah, this reminds me sort of like of some Koei games that I've played, like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and some of the Dynasty Warriors strategy games, where you like have a team and you send them to go out and do something, and they'll do it, and then come back and you get the results and get bonuses and things.
That's the idea. And then you have enough people to make 2 teams, but you can only send one out at a time. But as people gain levels, their stats go up. When they get to level 5, they get a specialization, which have things like plus defense or plus supplies they find. And you can level up the engines in the med bay, and you just kind of try to manage your power. The only way to get more power is to convert supplies that they bring back. And then that lets you keep taking turns to keep getting more supplies to keep trying to make it home. And that's the gist. And it seems like the difficulty of it kind of ramps up a little bit in the beginning and the first and second jump area. But if you can get past that and you have enough power to get going in the third area, you start having more missions that actually give much larger supply rewards, and then you can kind of make it from there. But
yeah, it sort of reminds me of a Trade Wars type game where you're going exploring space and going to new sectors, and
the majority of the game is actually all in one big initialization script here that's about 400 lines of code, and it kind of sets up everything that can happen. So it's got all the different like people names, all the different events, all the different ships and planets, and then everything else. The actual game is just kind of rolling dice and picking things out of this list.
So for the crew names, it looks like you have an array of first names and an array of last names. So you just like randomly pick a first name and a last name and put them together?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so that way I'm assuming like every time you play the game, you get a different crew every time.
Yeah, I did like, it's like 20 names. So, but you have 20 first names, 20 last names. I mean, that makes a lot of possibilities, but you might see the same stuff pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very cool.
Can you hear me now, Levi?
Yes, Ruth Ann, you sound great.
I look bad. I can't figure out how to turn this camera off, but
It's okay.
I have a kludge here, so I can do my presentation
You can't
on
do
my
your
Mac. I can do my presentation on my Mac and talk to you through my Android phone.
Oh, that'd be perfect. Yeah, if you want to go
Okay.
ahead and show off your game for Ludum Dare, that'd be great.
Are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay.
So you did a game called Power Transformer.
Yes. Can you still hear me now?
Yes, I still hear you.
Okay. So I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to demo through one of me that's there and talk through the other one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, so I actually have two versions of the same thing. One, the Power Transformer, which is out on itch.io. I pronounce these words my own way, okay?
That's fine. We all pronounce them our own ways.
I say Ludum Dare and you say something different. So anyway, maybe you could understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's all
Okay,
good. We know what you're talking about.
Okay. Both of these and one more are out on itch.io. And these two are the ones that I submitted to Let 'em Dare. So those are the only ones I'm going to talk about today. The third one is new features that I will also tell you later at the end that I'm working on. Now, actually, if I click right there, I would go to the Let 'em Dare one, but I don't want to do that now. Okay. Now this one is just to let you know why I participate in the Let 'em Dare jams. You can still hear me, right? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I was muted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you've been doing Ludum Dare for a long time. Like it looks like ever since you met us through the MetroPulse article and everything.
Yeah, I met you because somebody saw that article in the MetroPulse.
Yes.
And they suggested that I show up. And I think it's your February meeting in 2014. I showed up and I got a lot of stares. But at that point, I had only made like one mobile app and I'd never made a video game. So it took me till the end of 2014 to actually make one, but I don't think I actually submitted it. Now, the next thing that I'm going to start, I guess, admitting some things that you probably already know anyway. I'm not a video game player nor enthusiast, and design for me is not intuitive. What I do is I find example codes, like maybe 2 or 3, and then I design in my mind what I want them to do, and then I put them together and add stuff. Okay, but sometimes I will honestly say that I download some sample codes, and I can't even figure out how to play them if they don't have instructions. I'll show you one of those examples today. Now, so the reason I'm motivated is because I'm 66 years old and I don't want to, get dementia like my mom. I may still do it, but anyway, it's a challenge for me to keep my mind going. And I like these dares because I feel like I can try to be creative, and I really like the idea that you have 3 days and you have to do it, quickly. So that's a little introduction and confession.
Yeah, you're talking about like looking at examples. I think that's the way a lot of us, at least I know that's the way I do a lot of my programming. I just don't like sit down and read books on programming. It's like, okay, I want to figure out how to do this one thing. Oh, where's an example of how to do that? Then I kind of look at their code and try to change it enough or write it my own way. Then once I figure out that skill, it's like, okay, now I can use this thing that I know how to do in all my other games. So.
Right, and some of the ones that I did for this jam came from things that I'd figured out before. I saved them. So, it was but I do not sit down and write code from scratch, okay? So, but at the end, I'll show you just how many lines of code it took to do this. Okay, now, here's sort of the timeline for me. I got the idea that I wanted to use a transformer back on July the 17th. I was with my son-in-law in Charlotte, and I bought him a birthday present, a cake and a balloon. And he sent me this, and since I'm a grandmother, I just want to show you this. Can you see the little balloon?
Yeah, I see the baby. Is that a doll or a real baby?
No, that's my 4th grandchild.
Oh, okay. Kind of looked like a doll at first. Yeah, I see him playing with the balloon there.
Now she's tired. She quit kicking when she put the thing down. Okay.
So when you say transformer, are you talking about like Autobots, or are you talking about like power transformers?
No, not power transformers. My idea. My son-in-law is he wants to go to Dragon Con.
Oh,
the
okay.
1st September. He likes those heroes and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so you're talking about big robots that turn into cars.
yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Exactly right. Okay, now the next day on Saturday, I started looking for sample codes, and I'm trying to show you like the process that I went through to get this this entry. Okay, the first thing was, I guess this one is the first one that I looked at. This one, by the way, I have no clue how to play. Maybe you can tell me. But I'm going to actually, it doesn't get the screen very big, so I'm actually going to play it from YouTube. Okay, which one is that? Okay.
Yeah, I see Windmills and Rain, Revolution, Revolute joint example.
But yeah, and this is what the code looks like in processing. And notice it's running, you can't see my hands, can you? It's running in Java.
Okay.
It's running in Java. Okay. And you can see that you have, different parts of the code, the box, the particle, the windmill. And if I click on that, there would be other things that it takes to run it. Now, in the demo, I'll show you in a second, me trying to play the game. Okay, I guess I'm going through all the code just to let you see. It's right here is
Okay.
where.
Yeah, I see it now.
Right? You can see me now? Okay,
Yeah, I see it
if
now.
I go.
Oh, I see your code now,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. All right. I got to go back another one. Sorry. Okay, this is where we were. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to play it little, and you won't be able to read anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
that may be
So
easier.
Yeah, that's easier, because otherwise I got to, connect the other screen and all that window. Okay, now, this is my video, and it shows you connect the name of the thing,
Mhm.
and I click on the name of the program, and then up comes, this is the processing program, the windows. I mean, it shows, and I'm just scrolling down the windows to show you what the code looks like, but you can't see it right now. Maybe a little later you will kind of see what processing code looks like. But this is Java, basically Java that we have there, and I have different windows. One is for the actual this is the windmills and rain code, and then it's got the particles and the box and all that. Basically, their windmill is going to be just two rectangles joined by a revolute joint, and this one is in box 2D. So my whole idea, and I had promised Michael Neil that I would do something with box 2D sometime, and so I'm finally coming through, but with a presentation about it. But you can see this is kind of a box down here in the left and on the right, and so your windmills are supposed to get those raindrops down in those boxes, and that's how you get scores.
Yeah, I know Unity also uses Box 2D for the 2D physics engine. It's a fairly popular library. Or
well, the problem with, and I'll say it in a minute, but while it's finishing, the problem with Box 2D is it was a port for Java, and I wanted something that would run as an applet, so I needed it to run in the JavaScript. And so I spent pretty much a lot of Saturday trying to port this one from Java to JavaScript. But the wrapper that they have for the Box 2 physics for JavaScript, there's so many different libraries that I was working with. It was driving me nuts.
I could imagine.
And I didn't really want to use this code anyway. I just wanted to figure out how to make a windmill turn without doing like this one over here that I'm going to show you. I looked at this code and I found it at Open Processing, and I'm showing you there that I downloaded it from Open Processing. That's a place where people put out some of their example codes. Now this one, you'll notice it's got a windmill turning,
Mm-hmm.
but there is no physics at all in this
Oh.
one. And the code is about probably 100 lines because all it does is it prints, I mean, it prints this, images, the stick, and then these other three things, it will draw one, go over so many degrees, draw another one. In other words, it's just a fake windmill. And I didn't want to do something like that. I wanted to do physics 2D. I mean, box 2D. So when I realized that after all day on Saturday, on Sunday, I went back to this code that really was the only one that we studied in that course I took in the middle of 2013. So here's it. It's called Angry Droids, and it's in JavaScript, and actually I had a Java version too. So when it starts playing, it might be too loud. Well, you won't hear it because I'm muted on this.
Yeah, I hear you
I'm
talking,
muted.
but I don't hear any audio from the video there, which is okay.
Yeah, you won't hear any. You would if I went to the YouTube, maybe. No, you wouldn't probably. Okay. Anyway, so sorry. Okay. So this one, I think I got rid of it when it was actually doing something.
Yeah, I remember doing
Okay.
processing
There you can
years
see.
ago when I was in college, and it seems like it was sort of like it's AI functional type language. Um,
Well, this would actually you can select like an Android mode. You can select Java mode and JavaScript in the earlier versions of processing. You can't now. Now you have to write your own library or get somebody else's library to
oh,
do that. But now, if you noticed in this particular one, all the boxes are the same, and so it had no real. Well, it did have some scoring, but it's not as complicated as mine. It had no it had sounds, but they weren't that complicated either. But I had to once I decided on this code, and I wanted different windmills, and I had to figure out how to load multiple images, and well, I already knew how to do that. But anyway, I didn't just cheat and steal the code. Is what I'm
yeah.
trying to say.
I
I
think
made other
according
things.
to Ludum Dare, I mean, if it's something publicly available, then it's fair game that you can use it.
Yeah, that one that I used, I have a license from the people that taught the course, and all they require that you do is put the name, their names, and also include the license from MIT
Hmm.
for processing. Period. And so, I have all that.
Yeah, I think the
Now, so I
MIT license is like the most permissive out there. Is like, yeah, you can take the code, do with it whatever you want to.
and you can even sell it. You can even put it in product and
Yeah.
sell it. I don't care. And the one that with the Revolut code.
Hmm.
I was the winds and rain. I actually switched from that one, which is kind of complicated, to the original code that guy used and expanded on, and that's by somebody named Schiffman who writes a lot of tutorials and stuff like that. He gives you a lot of examples, and in his codes, he says you could use them to sell too. But anyway, I've already told you that I keep sorry I keep doing my mouse wrong. Okay, so basically, I said I wasted a lot of time, and the problem was I was using multiple library wrappers for JBox 2D, and so I got frustrated. I waste a lot of time until I decide what I really want to do.
I think we all
Okay.
do that. It's like, well, what do I want to do here? And
Even once you start on a sample code, you decide this is going to be it. Then the way that the code is ultimately going to look, the way the game is actually going to look is totally, different than what you first thought it was going to be.
yeah.
Like what I wanted was to have these transformers to have windmills on the top of them, which actually turned. This was my original idea, and they turned using box 2D physics. And instead of hitting like this game, transformer hits these what do you call them? windmills and gets energy that way. Produces
okay.
energy. But then what I originally wanted to do was to have windmills that would turn using the correct physics. In other words, that revolute joint type of thing. But I wanted it to look more like a windmill than just two rectangles in a joint. Okay.
Yeah.
So I get really ambitious sometimes, and then I try things, and then they don't work, and I get frustrated, and then I'll move on. So ultimately, once I went to the Angry Droids code, I just have all of these windmills, but I put a different picture on each block, which was another level for that. Now, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think this
Yeah,
is
so
very cool. It's kind of like a postmortem, like what you did, what you learned, and how things went.
Yeah, except I'm doing it live instead of sort of live.
Yeah.
Anyway, sort of not live, but the commentary is live.
So I
Okay, now
saw you
here
had a
is-
score on the scrone there. How do you earn points in the game?
Okay, I have a slide for that.
Oh, okay. I'm jumping the gun.
No, that's okay. Now this is my submission,
Oh,
and
we lost
if you
your.
went to Burnham Dairy,
I think we lost the
you
map
lost me?
feed.
Did you lose me?
No, we hear you and we see your video, but we lost the screen share. Yeah, so that's really impressive to be able to pull like processing in, use that for. I don't know anybody else that's ever like developed a lot of games and processing, especially a game in 48 hours over a weekend. So
Well,
very cool.
actually, it was like 36. I mean, it was
Oh.
more than 3 days, whatever 3 days. But I did like go to church and I had a dentist appointment and all that, so it wasn't really solid all that time. But now I've got to figure out how to get back in. Hold on, just 1 second.
Yeah, I was just going to say it is important to take breaks because, like, over 48 hours, I think I usually spend anywhere from 11 to 18 hours actually developing and making the game. And so it is.
Yeah, the first one I did, like I worked nonstop and I got such bad pain, neuropathy in my legs and feet. It was the most painful thing I've ever had. And it was because I sat still and didn't move for 3 days. That was really dumb. So now I go to whatever I want to go and I just do it. Okay, now.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. To be sedentary. I think that's one thing that led to some of my heart problems is just like sitting for so long and not getting outside enough and just staying in front of the computer.
Yeah, I think I hit the wrong thing. Give me just 1 second. I can't multitask today.
Yeah, I was hoping Jacob would join us, but I guess I'll just show off his game after Ruth Ann is finished.
I'm having fun. You maybe want to shut me up, okay?
Oh, no, you're fine.
Once I finally get it working, you can't shut me up. Okay. I mean, all right, join the hangout. I can do this. I can do it. Did I get it right?
Yeah, we hear you. We just need
What happened was when I brought myself in again,
yeah.
I had the microphone on, and now
okay.
I'm muted on that machine, but you can hear me on my Android phone. So is everything cool now?
Yeah, okay, we hear your audio, but we're not seeing your screen yet.
It's because I haven't shared it yet, right?
Okay. Yeah, we do see both of your profiles up now, so I think we're heading in the right direction. I think, like you're saying, you just need to screen share now. Okay, let me click on.
You're not seeing anything.
Yes, I see it now. Okay, we're good. Looks perfect.
You're good?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so I need to get rid of. Are you seeing you left the? Okay, there we go.
We see
That's
timeline
right?
continued July 30th. Switch to Angry Droids model code.
Okay, that's good. This is what you're supposed to see. Okay, now this is me playing it a little bit, I think. Okay, no, this is if you go to Let 'em Dare and you want to see me there, it's under Transzee.
Oh,
Transzee.
Yeah, I looked for it there and I couldn't find it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to get that link and post it.
Transzee and Zebra EVE.
Okay.
Okay. Now, okay. I thought my son-in-law, a graphic artist, was going to help me. obviously he didn't with my graphics. Let me go back and show you what the problem was, which you can probably see. Okay, let me stop it right there. Okay, you see my little man? I did not know how to make him with color. I
Oh,
tried Scratch, and it came out like that. I tried online, like JPJ to SVG.net or something like that, and it always came out in black and white. So I wanted my son-in-law to fix it for me, and his answer was, I mean, not to put him down, he does have a baby to take care of. What he said is download Photoshop, a trial copy, which I did. But if you don't know how to use Photoshop, I got to the point to where you get multiple layers and you pull off one layer, but it was just too much for me, to learn in that same 3 days. So I just went with this, and I was trying to make these windmills also be in that SVG format. And when I did them, they looked like little, they looked a lot like that, and it was so confusing. You had all these little strange looking things flying everywhere.
yeah.
So I had to
I was
give
gonna
up.
say Inkscape is a good tool for doing SVG graphics
Well, I
as
have
well.
Inkscape. I have Inkscape. I think it might have expired, but think I do have it on this machine. But that would be, I have to learn how to do it. See, the problem is, and you know this, the only time I work on any of this, except I am making a mobile app, but the only time I work on this video game stuff is when I'm doing a Let 'em Dare. And so,
Yeah,
like in between, I don't bring it up until I learn how to do Photoshop,
yeah,
which is
yeah. That's
my
fine.
mistake. But that's my mistake. So anyway, so that's what this is. Let me tell you a little bit about how this works. It applies. Maybe I should wait till the slide that goes into more detail. But when I my move this little man with my mouse, while I'm moving it, it connects the this to the vector, I guess. And then when I release the mouse, it applies a force on that transformer, which is proportional to the distance from that transformer to the top of this pole.
Okay.
And so the farther, in other words, if you play my game and you move this transformer up here to the far right corner, he's going to like go crazy and hit all the walls and everything before he possibly hits some of these. And you'll hear the wall sounds when you play it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know why I keep moving to another. Okay. So anyway, let me finish this one. I guess I should move over a little bit. I don't think I went to the end of this, but you can watch.
Yeah,
You
I see
can
him
hear it.
bouncing around in there, hitting all the windmills.
Right, but he hits him more with more force if I let him go. I assume it's a male transformer, don't you? But anyway, if I let him
I'm
go
not
farther,
sure.
wake him up. So, well, I know I didn't want to be politically incorrect. I was making a joke. But anyway, this is that was at Itch.io, and that was how you could download versions, native applications like for iOS desktop, um, for Windows 34, 32 or 64, and for Linux 32 and 64. And I have those out there working in this format that you pretty much see there.
And you
I mean,
also have
working
a
in that
web
format.
version, which I tried. So if anybody just wants to fire up a web browser and try your game, they can play it over the web too.
Yeah. Well, see, that's why I didn't want to use that Resolute joint thing. I mean, Revolut joint code, because I was restricted to Java, and that would be native applications. And I wanted it to be able to, before at Let 'em Dare, you could embed it and you could see it right there and play it, but now you have to go somewhere to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's the reason I gave up on that, because I wanted an HTML5 version. Okay, now now I'm going to talk a little bit about the physics. Are you pretty out to tears?
No, you're fine. Yeah, I see your code here. That looks interesting.
Okay, now this my code uses a library, a wrapping of that. I said earlier of that JBox2D, Java Box 2D, and to work on processing.js. So processing has you can think of as one program or one platform as processing, but then there's another one called processing.js. So I run these codes in different, really, whatever you want to call it, platforms, or not platforms. What's the word? You know what I mean.
Yeah, because applets are typically Java like programs, and JavaScript is like if you're doing HTML5 and things like
Yes.
JavaScript is a purely scripting language for the web, where a Java applet you're actually compiling the Java code into bytecode. Now I'm assuming
You still there?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So what I'm going to show you a little bit, you asked how the scoring algorithm works.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to give you just a little idea about how it does. This is not pure Box 2D library. Actually, and I got this from the people in London, the Angry Droid people. It actually has its own physics modification. When you set up the physics, they have done their own. And then they did their own collision detector. And I'm just showing you a little bit about it. The thing is when you set this collision detector up, it sets up a listener. And when this listener detects a collision, any kind of collision, then it goes to something called collision and figures out whether it's between the transformer and one of the windmills, or a windmill hitting a windmill, or something hitting the wall. Now, the Angry Droids counted it if one of the windmills hit the wall, it played a sound and did something. But I took that out. Now you only score if the transformer hits one of the windmills.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That does sound
Now,
very similar to Unity. Like in Unity, you have like an on collision enter event. So anytime if that object collides with something else, then that event gets called, and you can handle what happens after that.
That's what happens here. That listener is set up. Okay, once that listener is set up, then as I'm going through the draw part of the code, then if there is a collision, it tests for a collision. It tests to see what kind of thing hit what, and then it works from there. It plays a sound, or it increases the score, whatever. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, I guess. Let me move to the next slide. Now, basically, this is the way the code looks. Up here, there's lots of global things to do. And you import a bunch of Box 2D libraries and stuff like that. But I didn't put any of that in. And then in the setup, you load the images, like all kinds of images, the backgrounds and all of those little windmills and the transformer. A lot of these things, like this power transformer logo,
Mhm.
I did make that on the day before I submitted it to Let Them Dare. But the next day I made it. But actually, to save time, on the screen, I took the basic background, and I copied that on it, and copied the little timer thing
Mhm.
on it, so that actually when I'm running the code, I don't keep printing it, imaging it on there. It's
Yeah.
already on the background. Now, okay, then during draw, I call my custom renderer. That was the word I was trying to think of. And that's the thing that I actually set up the physics world in setup. And that's caused me problems. I don't understand why I'm having some problems. I'll tell you in a minute about that. But because I set it up in setup, I can't change, can't change my screens. I just have to have this play screen if I want it to work right. Okay, so we call them custom renderer and draw. And then there are two more methods that are important. If you drag the mouse, then it ties the transformer to the mouse while you're dragging. So you can see it says the position,
Mm-hmm.
the physics, screen to world, and then you get a vector mouse where your mouse is moving, the pointer is moving. Then, okay. Now, once you're dragging, you know what? This was supposed to be, let me hold on a second. I think I didn't edit that right. Yeah, I didn't edit that right. This method is avoid drag, but this one was supposed to say mouse released.
Oh, okay.
And so anytime you release the mouse, it calls this, and it applies an impulse, like I said, based on the distance from the transformer to the catapult. Is that the way you pronounce that? Anyway, so you set up the impulse, and the starting point is, I guess, from the top of the catapult, and then you impose an impulse, and it's by a multiplier of 50. Now, I figured out today that the last time I had a physics course was 48 years ago. And I only had one course. It was honors physics for 1 quarter, not even a semester. So I don't know a whole lot about physics, I admit.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's been
so
about
then
15 years for me, or no, probably
But it was
18
because if you
years.
think if I was 18, a freshman,
Yeah.
and I'm 66 now, if I do my math right, that's 48.
I
years
took
ago.
two
Not-
physics classes like my freshman year, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me. I want to write software.
Well, it wasn't for me either. So if you catch me saying very ignorant things, then you probably caught
Yeah,
something
I'm not a
from me.
physics expert. The thing that I never liked about physics was like all the formulas and everything apply to this perfect world that you're never going to be in, with like no wind and no resistance and everything. So it's like, okay, what's the point of this if you can't actually use it?
Yeah, now engineering, I think, is a little less precise too. Now, mathematics is so precise, you would have hated being a math major.
Yeah.
But anyway, so here's the collision routine. Okay, which is automatically called anytime it senses a collision. All right, you have two bodies and an impulse. Okay, that are passed into that, and if the transformer collides with anything but a wall with an impulse greater than 1, then you score. Okay, so I have to test, these are two bodies. If it's a transformer and the mass of the wall is 0. So if the mass of the other one is bigger than 0 of one of these two bodies, then you also test if the impulse is bigger than 1. And if it's bigger than 1, then you add 1 to the score. And
I
then
got you.
on down here, then you decide, whoops, where am I? Okay, on down there, then you decide what kind of sounds to play. I'm not hearing my sound. Okay, now this is the point. The point is, and I say it somewhere out on the Itch.io, point is, we're assuming that there's a massive power failure, which I think on April 17th there was one. Was it this year? There was one in more than one city. But anyway, assume that we have a lot of blackout. Then this power transformer guy is going to try to put a bunch of windmills in production. And again, this is sort of a ideal condition, but it is true that those windmills that I showed pictures of are approximately 1.8 megawatts,
Mm-hmm.
and they can produce 5.2 million kilowatts in a year, and that's enough power to power more than 500 typical households. So at the end, it's not showing this comment on the version that went to Let 'em Dare, but at the end I say, congratulations, you've provided power for how many ever you hit times 500 homes for 1 year.
Oh,
Okay,
so
this
it's
is
sort of
the actual code.
it's sort of educational as well. You learn how much power like a windmill
Yeah.
can generate in a year. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never knew that.
I don't know if you've noticed in the past, all but one of my Let 'em Dare codes in the past were made for my little 5-year-old and younger grandchildren. This one, they couldn't even understand about the catapult and the, I don't even understand it. I know they can't. But another one that I made was, remember when we had that one, unconventional weapon?
Yeah.
And I made Kryptonator, and the idea
That's
was
the one with Superman,
these
right?
bad guys were killing Superman. The Supermen were flying through the wall, and this bad guy was killing them. And so I decided that wouldn't be appropriate for the grandchildren either. But the rest of them were, and other than those two.
Yeah, I know here in Oak Ridge we have a bunch of not a bunch, but a few windmill like on top of the hill. Sometimes you can see them off in the distance spinning. I don't know if they provide power for something or what, or if they're just there for show, but apparently you can get like a pass and go up there and see the windmill. But yeah, here in Tennessee, East Tennessee, we have a lot of different types of power available. Like we have the coal plant in Kingston, and we have Bull Run steam plant, and in Watts Bar we have like the hydroelectric power, and I think they have a nuclear reactor down there as well, which is something that we're trying to get back online. So we have like all the different types of power generation capabilities.
But you see, since I had made up my mind from the balloon that transformer was going to be in the thing, there was going to be a transformer, which I thought my son-in-law would do for me, the graphics for. That doesn't matter. But once I got that in my head, when it said running out of power, okay, I figure it's blackout, and then this is a transformer too, right? On top of this, you would see a transformer.
Oh yeah, anyway, so we just lost your desktop there.
Oh, you lost my desktop again?
We saw it though.
Oh, okay. Well, so sorry. Okay, I guess that's enough. Except, did you see that I have those 3 screens that I want to add? One is the start of the game screen, which you can't see right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, we saw the 3 images there, the game over screens.
Yeah, you can see those?
Yeah, we saw them, but now we can't see them anymore.
Oh, okay. So one was a start game, and that one, maybe I should try to fix it, because in the next slide, it tells the things that I want to fix. Oh. I want you to be able to check the leg. Let me see if I can do it.
Okay.
Well, you can't see it, right?
Yeah, we can't see it anymore. It just popped out, or it went away kind of like it did earlier.
Because, I have a shaky hand. So
not sure what's going on there.
Okay.
But yeah, I was just thinking about...
You think my face go away? Well, I can tell you. I remember what it says.
Okay.
It says that at the very first screen that comes up, I want you to be able to select a level. Right now, it's fixed. You got 2 minutes to see how many of these windmills you can hit with the transformer. Mm-hmm. You have 2 minutes, but I want to be able to check the time, the size of the screen, where you put that catapult, and the size of the windmills and the size of the transformers, and also change the physics like the gravity and the density. All these words are just buzzwords to me, those last 2.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want them to be able to set up levels based on the combination of those things. And also, I want you to be able to play the game again and keep up with the scores that you had before, so you can compare and see if you're getting better.
Try to beat your best score, yeah.
Yeah, at that on the play again screen. And then on that play again screen, you would have a choice of playing the game again or stopping. And then with the game over, then it tells how many total houses that you restored the power to. Now, these are future enhancements that will never happen, but that's what I would do if I'm really trying to make it good.
It's always good to have ideas on things that you want to make better.
I have lots of ideas, but no follow through. But anyway, the problem I actually tried on Monday to put some of these screens in, and so I had spent all the time, finding those screens and putting things on them. But the problem I have is the way that physics is set up. It's set up in setup before you get to draw, and so when you go to play again, you still have those boxes of those windmills. They're the way they were before,
Oh yeah, I've run into that problem with my games. It's like you want to restart a level, but you got to clear everything out first, then reinstantiate everything back.
Right, and I can't do it. I can't do. I don't know how. I'm sure you can, but I don't know enough about Box 2D as to how to end the world and start the world all over.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'd have to do. So anyway, if I can't show you anything, I also was going to show you how complicated the code is. How many lines of code?
Yeah, we saw some of the code earlier with the physics, but I guess that was
Yeah,
the
but
box.
it's a lot more than you. There's a lot more code than you would think.
I can
And
imagine.
do I still have two faces? Do I still have two faces
No,
in
we
there? or
only
just
see
one?
one. We see
Yeah.
the shot of your ceiling there.
Right. Okay, that's the one where you're getting the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see, but there's bunches of codes. I mean, it's not like a 400, 500, 600 line of thing. I've got a box 2 JS, a box wrap, a cloud. I wanted to put clouds in the background, and I almost have that debugged, but I didn't mention that.
Now, did
I
you
have
share out the
liquid,
code on your
liquid,
Ludum Dare entry? Can people download it somewhere and take a look at it?
Yeah, you can download all of it. If you download the HTML, you get all of these, and also the web application thing. The problem I've had with the web applications, you know, for iOS and Windows and Linux, is that when I try, not today, this time, but another time, when I downloaded them on my laptop, which is Windows 10, it had a different Java version than the Java version I had when I created it on my Mac. And so, you know, good luck downloading, you know, the native, but you should be good at downloading the HTML5. You'll get a zip file that has all of these codes.
That's awesome. So yeah, if
and
people
there's
out there want to take a look at the
bunches.
code, the processing code, they can just download it off your
Yeah,
Ludum
I can't say
Dare.
I think I'm done. But what I
itch.io
will
page.
say is, huh?
I was just saying
What?
people can download it
I'm-
either off your Ludum Dare entry page or on your itch.io account, and they can take a look at your code there.
Right. If you can't sleep one night, like download it. You know, I'm sure it puts you to sleep really quickly. Now I just want to tell you what the last slide said.
Okay.
Okay, and then I really am done. You know, I started out with my newest granddaughter, and so out of fairness, I had my other three, and their ages, well, just turned 6, 4, and 18 months. But I have pictures of that baby, 14 months old, and one of his sisters playing video games. They're playing Smash. Is one of them called Smash?
Mhm.
And anyway, I didn't have the video, but of the little one, I have a video. Not with me. My son has a video of him getting so excited. He's going back and forth, and he's actually moving the characters on the screen with a controller. He's not like fighting, you know, he doesn't know how to do that, but he's 14 months old and he can way outplay his Meemaw.
Yeah.
And at the
Starting
end,
out
after
young.
yes, and he's so excited and he's laughing so hard. He actually bruised his dad sitting on his lap. But the funny part is at the end, he puts the controller down, picks up his pacifier. You know, it's pretty obvious he's a baby. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, that was awesome. Yeah. Really like seeing what you've developed there in processing. Very cool game. I guess I'm going to go ahead and show off my game. And then if Jacob pops in, then he can talk about his game. Otherwise, I'll talk about his game as well. So let me go and share my screen. And I think it's this one. There we go. And so I'm just going to play a video of the game that I created for Ludum Dare, which was called Slowbot. If I actually try to play it on the cast, then that like sucks down my resources, and I'm doing too many things at one time already by streaming and recording, and also the audio is too loud. But yeah, here's the compo build. Let's play that. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down. I'm just going to mute this and pull this over. Can everybody see that in full screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got my little robot here. It's kind of like a bomb diffusing robot. you start out in like this dark area, like a room or dungeon or whatever. So the objective is to go around and collect turn on the 3 different colored lights. I have like tips that pop up there to try to help the player. You try to avoid the mines. You have a power meter, which you can see in the upper left-hand corner. So that is going to gradually decrease as you play through the game. Now, as you're moving, it decreases a little bit faster, like 2 percentage points every second, whereas if you're just still, it decreases by 1 point. But as your power meter gets lower and lower, then the robot starts to move slower and the headlight starts to dim. And also there's like this moving sound effect, which I actually made with my can opener. So the tone of that goes down as well. So yeah, there's 20 total levels in the game. I created all of the levels using a text editor. So each like unit cell on the screen is like a different letter in my text file, like the batteries are H's and the mines are M's and things like that. So it's a really efficient way to get a lot of levels created in a short period of time. I do have like a parser that I wrote, which reads in these text files, which get sucked in as text assets into Unity. And I just use that parser to split each line and do a 2-char array to get all those values. But if you hit the mines, then your power decreases by 25%, and picking up the little rotating batteries will regenerate power, like 10% of your power back. I did use an emissive material on the battery just so I would be able to see those in the dark. If those were hidden in the dark, I don't think that would be as much fun. I created the model in Blender again. I really didn't do any animations on the model this time. I just sort of did an outline based on a picture that I found on the web and modeled around that to create the robot. And for the ground textures and the wall textures, those are just pictures around my house of bricks and like the steps leading up to my house. And I also used a normal map, which I generated by using the built-in Unity texture to normal option, which can actually generate a normal map from an image. So that's what makes it look kind of shiny or reflective whenever the light is shining on top of it. So yeah, that's basically the game that I created for Ludum Dare 39. So it's out there on itch.io, Game Jolt, and people can play the Ludum Dare entry. And I also just finished the post-mortem, so if anybody out there is interested about reading more about how I created this game, it's out there for people to check out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Jacob's game, which is called Lost Signal, and you can play it through a web browser as well. HTML5. I tried downloading the desktop version and it just didn't seem to want to work correctly. So I just fired it up the other night. I really haven't had a chance to play it yet. So this is like my first impressions right here, but it looks like you have a guy. He may be wearing a hood or something and a little blue outfit. And it looks like there's I don't know, like some transformer right here with blue circular arcs coming out of it. The weird tree S. So, okay. Power at 95%. Okay. Oh no, now he's like automatically moving on its own. There looks like there's a little antenna coming out of this generator and a little stick man standing beside it. So I can move around with the arrow keys. I don't think I can shoot or anything in this game. But, so yeah, you can keep moving along here. I'm not sure what to expect here. It's like this big open room. And, let's see here. Oh, there's little critter moving around here. Little black. Oh, there's two of them. They kind of move in the opposite direction of way. Oh, I got killed. Oh no. So now you restart back over the generator. So if you walk to the
You
left,
think those little things are electricity?
I'm not Sully Yoles, Sully memes. So you don't want to walk back to the left because that automatically kills you apparently. Yeah, so let me try one more time. See if there's anything that I missed, like to the lower side here. I guess the one thing I would tell Jacob is it's kind of hard to see your character. Like the blue on black is kind of hard to see here. But okay, so there's more of these little critters that kill you in one hit. There's two more stickmen down here. I don't think they do anything. They're just... Oh no! You got killed. Yeah, so that's Jacob's game there called Lost Signal. Check that out. He has a... you can find him on LD Jam. I think he's working on creating a Game Jolt page as well. But I think he just has it hosted on his own site for right now. Okay, so that's all What's that?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Oh.
I started to say how to find him, but there's a link on the Knox Game Design to his Load'em there, right?
Yeah. You go to knoxgamedesign.org and you can click there, and that'll take you directly to his Lost Signal game entry page right there. Okay, so let's see here. One thing I was going to mention is in news is that the Xbox Live Creators Program is now open. So if you have an Xbox One, you can set it up in developer mode and deploy your game to the Xbox One and publish that to the marketplace. Now they do have it's in a separate area in the game store for creators, which aren't through the standard ID at Xbox curation process, but it does make the Xbox One a little bit more accessible for anyone who wants to publish a game on the Xbox One. So I was working on this. I had my game running through the dev mode on my Xbox One like middle of last year. Didn't have a way to publish it yet, so I'm trying to go back and get that up and running. I ran into some problems with Unity. Apparently I had Visual Studio 2015 Community Edition installed, and when I upgraded to the new Unity 2017.1 version, it will put Visual Studio 2017 on your system. But for whatever reason, it didn't do like a clean install of Visual Studio 2017. It's like a stripped down version without the UWP stuff, which is required for taking your Unity game and publishing it to the Xbox One. So I spent hours last night trying to get that to work. I think the lesson learned is if you're upgrading to Unity 2017, make sure you remove Visual Studio 2015 first. Or, as I had to do, just wipe your Windows 10 operating system, which I have my operating system on a different drive, a different partition. So deleting that and reinstalling the OS, it's not too bad. It just takes a couple hours. So I'm up and running again. I'm hoping this week to be able to get one or more of my games published on the Xbox One through this creators program. Another site that I found interesting that over the past few days is this 8-Bit Music Theory. If you want to learn more about how to make music, I think it can apply for either 8-bit games or any other type of game. This is very helpful. I learned a lot on composing music over the weekend through this, about the different scales and chords and things like that, and how to make tunes that are really catchy, like the classic Mega Man themes and Super Mario's themes.
Do you have this link posted on Knox Game Design?
It will be posted after the podcast,
Okay.
so I'll have
That
all
looks
this
interesting.
out there. Yeah, so I think that's it for this month. Oh, one other thing,
I have
Recursor,
something.
who's
Okay.
also in Tennessee, he developed the game for this game jam called GMTK Jam. Not exactly sure exactly what that is for, but he developed a game called Spacebot, which looks pretty cool. A little space shooter. So yeah, if you're interested in seeing what Recursor's been up to, he's still doing his Lua 3D games, his tutorials. So check that out as well if you're interested in Lua. Haven't heard much from. Let me unshare this.
What platform did he use to make that?
I think he works in
Mhm.
Lua 3D,
Oh, that's,
or Love
oh, that is
3D.
it. Oh, okay.
I
I
think-
didn't get it.
Yeah.
I
So-
never heard of that.
Yeah, it seems like it's a pretty good little tool for creating simple little 2D games like that. I haven't heard much from the Chaosoft game guys. I know they got greenlit. They're Evil Quest 2, but they've been kind of silent. So hopefully they'll start posting updates as well pretty soon.
What does greenlit mean?
It was an old system on a now retired system on Steam, the game publishing platform, where you would go out and you would submit your game to get votes from the Steam community, and if you got enough likes, then they would greenlight your game, which would let it become published on Steam. But now they've done away with the greenlight system, and I forget the name of the new one. It's yeah, I can't remember the Steam Direct or something like that. Now you just pay like $100, and I think you can get your game on Steam. So they did away with that community-driven process.
Okay.
So I guess I'll go around one time. Hey Jake, I guess I missed. I didn't ask if you created any games or been working on anything interesting lately.
I've been working on the same project I was about 2 months back. Didn't do anything for William Dory. I had a summer class, and that lined up perfectly with finals week.
Oh,
So, not a good mix.
they keep moving the date. I mean, of Ludum Dare, so it was a little bit earlier this time in July. I think the next one will be in December, so we got a little ways for the next ones. But can you remind us what was the project that you were working on a couple of months ago?
So what I've been working on is recreation of an old Atari game called Cosmic Arc. I've now switched the name over to Abduction, and it's just a little do-nothing, making it out of TypeScript and Phaser.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. And if you make more progress, if you want to have some screenshots or video or gameplay you want to show off, yeah, bring all that. Or you can just send me a link and I'll post it up to our site.
I've got a link if you want to do that.
Yeah, that'd be great if you send that to me. Yeah, Levi D. Smith at Knox Game Design .org. Oh, I forgot one game. I didn't have it on my tab over here, but another Knoxville developer, Chad Shepard. I'm looking for I think it's right here. He created a game called Spin Widgets. Let me share the screen. Put this back on me. And I actually downloaded this for my tablet, and it works pretty well. It's a Spidget Finner. I can't even say it. Spinner widget app. Spin widgets with AR. So you can actually take it. He does a lot with like AR, where you can take $1, put it on the table, and it will actually find the dollar on the table and things like that. But yes, basically a fidget spinner simulation. You got different colors, and you can just take it and spin. I guess like a real fidget spinner. I think you can like earn coins and things like that, and buy new types of fidget spinners in the shop. So yeah, he's got that out for Android. I'm not sure if he has it on any other platforms right now, but yeah, that's by Chad Shepard, who is also a Knoxville developer. Okay, continuing down the line. stop sharing. Joe, did you have anything else you wanted to share with us this month?
No, not really.
Okay. Yeah, been a busy month. Ruth Ann, did you have anything else you wanted to share this month?
No, but I do have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
Have any of you read anything about your video games and mobile apps and websites needing to be ADA compliant?
That's a disability, American
Yeah,
Disabilities.
yeah. There are standards for web development, but there are also standards for, well, like, okay, let's say that you're colorblind.
Mhm.
There's certain colors you're supposed to use, or if you're blind, you should be able to or almost blind, change the font sizes and stuff like that. So I've been reading a little bit about that, and it looks like that some companies like Amazon have been sued and had to pay lots of money because they weren't compliant.
Wow.
But the Department of Justice was supposed to come out with their guidelines this year and start going after people. So I was just thinking, if you developed your games, like you were talking about Jacob's, hard to see, if you developed your games with those guidelines in mind, that could be a distinguisher in terms of selling your games. But the reason that the DOJ is not going to go after people this year is, the rule about for every regulation you put off 14 more. Well, the ADA regulations was one of the 14, so it'll be a few years off. But I found this website up in Canada. Now this is for being compliant, and their guidelines are similar to the ones in the United States. But this is to test to see if your websites are ADA compliant. Now there's software in the U.S., but you have to pay for it. And that website was free. So I just took some websites of people around here that I knew were like, I won't mention their names, but that were big firms, very popular firms. And I also looked at the, Wix and Weebly and Duda Mobile, because they have their own websites. And you would think, since they are the big website developers, they would be compliant. Okay. There's a guy here that I know that's a financial manager. His website was compliant. Weebly's was compliant. The other two website developers were not compliant, and it put their problems in like 3 different categories, and it would list and tell you what you needed to do to change it. So that might be a business idea if you wanted to. I mean, if they got to where they were really going after mobile apps and I mean, I know you all don't want to go fix other people's mobile apps, but when I get old, and I mean, I am old, but if I want to sit around and do something, maybe I could look at websites and recommend that people make certain changes.
Yeah.
But if you team with a website developer, in your case, maybe a video game developer, and maybe a graphic artist, they have to fix the graphics. They can't have graphics that has anything written on it. A lot of people's logos.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that, like anybody being like prosecuted or anything for not being ADA compliant. I know I've heard a lot about the flashing, the epilepsy, like people having seizures and things from flashing lights from games. I don't know if anybody's ever been taken to court over like negligence. I know a lot of games will say, hey, read the safety manual that came with your system and watch out for the health warnings. Don't sit and play your game for more than 20 minutes. It's unhealthy for you and bad things can happen. I did see a video not too long ago, forgot where it was, but it's about League of Legends and how League of Legends would appear to colorblind people. And it would show as like, to someone who can't distinguish the difference between red and green, everything looks the same. They can't tell the difference from a friendly mine and an enemy mine. And it's really interesting. If I can find the link again, I'll post it on the Knox Game Design website. But it did go into the.
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about it except for one course that I took 2 or 3 years ago. She just mentioned it in passing, and I forgot all about it. And then one night, about a month or 2 ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought, wonder, that idea just popped in my head. I don't know where it came from. But anyway, I started looking into it and I found out that, all that I told you. But anyway, I don't think there's a problem now, but in the future, you might want to at least keep a lookout
Yeah,
for
we'll
that.
definitely have to consider that when making our games. And one thing I didn't realize is like the different types of color blindness. Like in that video that I found, it went into all the different types. Like there's some people that can't distinguish blues from yellow, and some are more prevalent than others. I think the most common is the can't distinguish between red and green. And there are names for like all the different types of color blindness out there.
I used to have a very bad tremor, and so it was hard for me to type or use a mouse. And so, I mean, you even have to make concessions for the mentally ill, which I can attest to that one too. But anyway, the reason I'd be really good at looking at things with disabilities is that at one time or other in my life, I've had a lot of them. But anyway, I just brought that up.
Yeah, that's something that we all need to take into consideration while developing our games. So yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for August 2017 for Knoxville Game Design. Remember to check us out on iTunes, Knox Game Design. You can go out there and find all the past episodes. Leave us a rating. Let us know what you like, what you didn't like. We're also on Stitcher. And we're also on the Google Play Store. Check us out if you want the video version of this meeting. Check us out on YouTube, Knoxville Game Design. And also you can go out and directly grab the RSS feed. So yeah, before I close it out, I just want to plug everybody's site again. You can find Joe Miller. He's Double Square Joe. Pretty much everywhere, doublesquarellc.com. And Ruth Ann, you can find her, Transeve, on Itch.io. And I'm in a couple of different places. You can find me, GA Tech Grad, on Twitter. My main website is levidsmith.com. So if you just go there, you can find my Itch.io and Game Jolt and everything else. So yeah. That's going to wrap it up. We appreciate everyone watching and everyone following us, and we'll be back in a month.